Man, Greece, probably one of the most famous places in all of the history. The state that pretty much gave us most of what we learned in school, and now is broke as shit. Okay, maybe not to that degree, but no soul on earth would call it rich. But damn, how Greece even went from being this and this to this? Let's damn it find out. So my friend, to fully understand the entire situation here, you need to firstly understand one thing. This was 2500 years ago, and I know, I thought it was like 300 years in the past or something as well. Like, come on, I remember taking a bath with this young lady, but it turns out that Greece we all think about really happened a long time ago, longer than I could imagine for sure, and that's what she said, boys. So the modern Greece is roughly 200 years old. I mean, still a MILF, and all that time Greece was poor. Yeah, it had and has a good trading location, which made the money situation slightly better than its neighbors, but on the global scale and by the living standards, nah man, that country was never rich. But it's not because Greece didn't have any resources, nah, that's all just common misconception, you know, and not because of poverty for sure, dude. From the very beginning of its independent history in 1830s, Greece had nothing. It got its independence coming out the war and left with ruins, no infrastructure and collapsed economy. And I mean, Greece was never known as an industrial country, so the only way to make Greece great again was to borrow some cash, you know. And so it did. Greece was taking out loan after loan after loan, which after 50 years made it literally politically and economically dependent on other countries because it simply couldn't pay those debts. And not only because the country wasn't profiting at all, but because officials simply started stealing money. Man, the corruption in Greece was freaking huge. The government was stealing even those money it didn't have. Then on top of it, the country got involved in pretty much every single war that's been around in that region. But you can see a spike in living standards coming along with 1980s. And guess what happened? The government that's been stealing money and pretty much said dictatorship in Greece fell, and folks wanted their rights back, social justice and government support, and that was exactly what the new coming government promised. And to fulfill those promises, guess what they did? Took out many other loans, then got into Eurozone, got access to more loans and took out them. And well, yeah, peeps were happy, they got everything they asked for. The country itself got so deep into quicksand of debts that the only part that was still on the outside was head. So it had to do the job with it. However, it didn't help much, cause the country itself didn't make a lot of money. Small export, weak businesses, and after 2008 financial crisis, all the investors simply lost hope in Greece's economical comeback and stopped giving it money. So Greece got to a pretty low point of debt crisis. The country literally had no money to pay back nor to maintain its own economy. But man, don't you think it's just because of 2008 crisis? No. Even though the government and political party changed, the corruption still remained, slowly increasing over time. And with all of this shit, to avoid default, aka absolute zero, Greece received financial aid. But not for free, just because, of course. The country had to cut pensions and salaries, raise taxes, and reduce the public sector, which pretty expectedly led to mass unemployment and poverty. But in long-term game, it had to pay out. It had to, but did it? Check it out, starting from 2010 and straight up to 2018, Greece lost more than 25% of its GDP. The unemployment levels were high as fuck, especially among youth. It was 60%, and obviously it led to all of that youth simply leaving the country. But Greece escaped the default, still left with shit ton of debt to pay off, a broken economy, but not the absolute zero, you know. And since 2018, Greece stopped receiving help, and its general situation started to go to a better place, because the country wasn't a complete mess, and because I'm sure some work was done, the touristic aspect started raising. People started coming to Greece, and the country itself finally started using its advantages again. I mean, the placement in history. Well, history is obviously attracts tourists. Placement, well, of course, it's also about tourism. Beaches, come on, dude. Folks all over the world come there for them. But also Greece started using its placement for shipping, and I mean, it makes good money out of those and some other sources. Surely enough to make Greece great again.